So, okay. Okay, I'm going to begin my presentation now. Okay. Hi, I'm Kevin. My disease of choice for today is achondroplasia, and it's by me. Okay, so to start off, I am going to be starting by stating that achondroplasia it's a pretty rare genetic disorder in which 1 in 15 to 1 in 40,000 people have it worldwide. However, those because achondroplasia is known to cause dwarfism, and well, that's what the disease is. It causes dwarfism in people. If someone does have short stature or has dwarfism, uh, most likely they are to have this disease specifically. It isn't the only disease that causes achondroplasia, but it is the root cause of 90% of the people that do have it. An example of someone who has achondroplasia is to the right side of the screen, and that is Peter Dinklage. I know him from the Hunger Games, but you guys might know him from something else. It is also an autosomal disease in which it doesn't affect the sex chromosomes in us. So it is very common for both males and females to have it. Okay, moving on. I'm going to be speaking about the etiology of the disease. To sound very sciencey, it causes point mutation in the fibroblast growth factor receptor 3 gene, or for short, the FGFR3 gene. I abbreviated it wrong, I'm noticing now. But okay, in which a single nucleotide base pair of the DNA sequence is altered. And you can see it in the picture of the right, by osmosis.com, that the glycine was replaced by a mutated part of the gene. Mhm. And then, yeah, it causes dwarfism, and it is an autosomal dominant disease in which you only need one alter pair of the gene for you to have it. And it's a pretty crazy disease, I would say, because your family can have like no history of dwarfism at all, and you still have a chance of passing on the disease. And to prove that, 80% of the people who get achondroplasia actually have receive it from two individuals who didn't have achondroplasia. However, if if you do have parents that have achondroplasia, obviously there is a higher chance of inheriting the disease. For example, when both parents are affected, the chances of the offspring inheriting it are 50% and 25% of having a normal stature. Didn't mean to do that. But okay, continuing on to demographics. In Europe, there was a study done, and it says that the presence of achondroplasia is around 3.5 for every 100,000 people. That is way fewer than the number I stated previously. However, numerous sources state that no matter the gender or the ethnic group, achondroplasia is present in around 1 in 25,000 people worldwide. That is from another source. What I stated previously, it's kind of like in the midway of what 1 to 15 to 1 to 40,000 people. So, yeah. And it is not defined by sex, nor is it defined by ethnicity group. However, there was a correlation that stated that if the guy who mates with the female is 50 years or older, they are more likely to pass on this genetically inherited disease. Mhm. And it increases the chances of from 1 to 25,000 to 1 in 8,700, 1,875 people. Okay, now moving on again. I will be speaking about the anatomy of the disease, or those with achondroplasia features. So there's many. And to start off, I will speak on macrocephaly, and that's just an abnormally large forehead. The picture to the right side on the right side of the screen, it shows kind of an adult and a child or an infant with the disease. There is also mid-face hypoplasia or a small nose bridge. There is rhizomelia, in which there is the shortened limbs. Uh, and more specifically, there's shorter proximally than there is distally on the limbs, on the extremities. Then there is also trident hand, in which you have a gap between the middle finger and the ring finger. As you can see in the picture, they have kind of a separation right there, kind of like this. And then there's also uh, Genu or bow legs. And that's basically kind of like their legs, but they're curved. That actually causes problems or complications in walking sometimes. And yeah, okay, to continue forward, there is also physiology and symptoms of the disease. And uh, honestly, the disease isn't necessarily fatal once you reach adulthood because the life expectancy of one with the disease is around 61 years old, which in turn is 10 years shorter than what a normal lifespan is for the average human adult. However, achondroplasia mainly deals more with like difficulties while you're here on Earth. Okay, and to elaborate on that, it just causes many complications in the human body, but it can be fatal. It can be fatal, for example, in foramen magnum stenosis. The foramen magnum is basically like this hole in your occipital part of the skull in which your brainstem passes through. Uh, Foramen magnum stenosis is a complication that causes this hole to basically like shrink or condense, putting pressure on the brainstem. The brainstem is a very vital part of the body uh because it controls your body and it'll cause things like difficulty swallowing, weakness, and sleep apnea. And it actually increases your fatality rate of from to 2 to 5%. And it's the most fatal complication that you can have with this disease. There's also thoracolumnar kyphosis, in which that is the picture above the child that you can see, and it's a lower back spinal deformity. And it is actually present in 87% of the children that have this between 1 and 2 years old. But as you increase in age, uh, it becomes less present or less prominent, and the number goes down to 11% in 5 to 10 year olds with achondroplasia. And yeah, moving forward, there is diagnosis and treatment and AI. Okay, the diagnosis of this condition can be made by genetic testing for the FGFR3 gene mutation. This is very vital because, as stated prior, there are other diseases that can cause dwarfism in people, although it is the most common, but one can never be too sure. This can be done. Mhm. There can be prenatal diagnosis, as you can see in the picture on the right, through an ultrasound, which shorter limbs are detected. Skeletal surveys can detect different deformities in the child, such as abnormal shaped pelvis and rhizomelic shortening of long bones. And AI can actually assist in this diagnosis, and they have been proven to be accurate up to 88% of anterior posterior chest radiographs and dichotomizing achondroplasia. Okay, and moving forward, these are my citations, and that was my presentation. Thank you guys for listening.